Stop what you're doing because the d4vd scandal just went from bad to absolutely catastrophic. Picture this: a Tesla sitting abandoned, neighbors complaining about a smell so foul it could wake the dead. Police show up, pop the trunk, and there it is. A girl's body. Fans gasped. Blogs exploded, and the internet turned into one giant courtroom overnight. But just when you thought that was the climax, the plot thickened. Turns out the Tesla wasn't just abandoned, it had been ticketed days before the discovery. Imagine the horror: a parking ticket slapped on a car while an unspeakable secret lay inside the trunk. If that doesn't sound like a scene out of a twisted Netflix drama, I don't know what does. But it doesn't stop there. Police raided d4vd's $1 million Hollywood Hills home, sealing it off like a crime scene, and the revelations that followed. Pure chaos. Add in a swatting call that brought armed cops to his family home in Texas. And suddenly this isn't just a scandal, it's a full-blown implosion. Fans are asking, is d4vd guilty, or is he being set up in one of the messiest takedowns we've ever seen? Buckle up, because this story is about to get darker. The scandal didn't just arrive, it exploded. 1 second, d4vd was still being called Gen Z's new voice, the sad boy star with a cult-like following, and the next second, his name was tied to a scene so dark it felt like Hollywood fiction. Imagine this: a Tesla sitting abandoned for days in a neighborhood. Neighbors whispering about a strange smell, parking enforcement casually slapping a ticket on the windshield, and then boom, the police pop the trunk and the nightmare spills out. Inside is the decomposed body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. The shockwaves were immediate. Fans went from editing wedding TikToks with his songs to flooding Twitter with what the hell is going on threads. Blogs published every detail they could get, and suddenly, every lyric, every moody Instagram post, every dark music video was being treated like it was a premonition. One fan tweeted, "He literally told us he had time to kill and we ignored it." Another commented, "That's not art, that's evidence." Screenshots flew everywhere. TikToks stitched crime scene headlines with his songs, and his entire persona got rebranded overnight, not as an artist, but as a suspect. And if that wasn't surreal enough, it got worse. Because the Tesla, it had been ticketed 11 days before the body was discovered. Let that sink in. 11 days, with a violation notice sitting on the windshield while inside the trunk. An entire life had ended. Neighbors swore they had complained about the smell. "We thought it was a raccoon or something," one said in an interview. Another insisted they saw the car moved late at night, claiming, "I saw different people around it, not just him." Whether true or exaggerated, the damage was done. The story had gone from shocking to unbelievable. And then came the raid. Police swarmed his Hollywood Hills home, the $1 million mansion that had once been a symbol of his success. Yellow tape wrapped the property, helicopters hovered, and reporters gathered outside the gates. Officers carried out boxes of electronics, hard drives, and personal items. Neighbors watched like they were extras in a reality show, giving quotes to tabloids about the chaos. "We never trusted that house," one claimed. "Too many parties, too many strangers." Within days, the lease was broken and the house was sealed off. Fans began to wonder, was he hiding something, or was someone setting him up? Inside sources began to talk, and their words fueled the flames. A former engineer said he'd record songs that felt like confessions. "We joked about it, but now it doesn't feel so funny." A supposed ex-store manager whispered, "There were always secrets, and people didn't ask questions because the money was rolling in." Whether these sources were real or made up, nobody cared. They gave the scandal more depth, more flavor, more fuel to keep the story running in headlines. But betrayal turned it personal. Leaked voice notes began to circulate, muffled recordings, hinting at people discussing keeping quiet, and nobody needs to know. No context, no names, but enough for fans to connect dots that may not even exist. "That's his voice, 100%, one TikTok user declared, while another said, "This sounds like a fake AI recording." Truth became irrelevant. What mattered was the drama, and the drama was viral. And while the world speculated, his family got caught in the storm. Paparazzi camped outside their homes. Tabloids called nocta. And then the nightmare escalated: swatting incident at his family's house in Texas. Someone phoned in a fake active shooter call. Within minutes, armed officers surrounded the home, stormed the door, and terrified his relatives who had nothing to do with the scandal. The fallout was devastating. His mother reportedly cried out, "I don't even know who my son is anymore." A cousin posted on Instagram, "Stop asking, I swear, just as lost as you are," before quickly deleting it. Fans screenshotted it, of course, and the internet went wild. Even his own family doesn't trust him, people posted. And just like that, betrayal was no longer just about friends, it was about blood. And the brands, they cut him off instantly. Hollister pulled campaigns. Crocs quietly deleted ads. Even streaming services stopped promoting his playlists. A leaked PR email coldly stated, "Effective immediately. Remove all mentions of the artist from promotional material." He was being erased in real time. Only weeks before, he had been the face of Gen Z heartbreak. Now, he was being treated like a ghost. Meanwhile, the fan base split into two furious camps. One side defended him fiercely, chanting setup and industry but they said this was another case of a young black artist being targeted after becoming too successful too fast. Hashtags like #free d4vd trended with millions of posts. The other side mocked them, calling them blind. He told y'all in his lyrics and you still defended him. One viral tweet said, TikToks compared him to other disgraced rappers, splicing his face into mugshots. Memes popped up, Spotify rapped, but make it FBI rapped. For some, it was heartbreak. For others, it was pure entertainment. And through all this, d4vd stayed silent. Not a word beyond lawyer-written statements. No no interviews. Nothing but silence. And that silence became its own form of noise. Critics said it meant guilt. Supporters said it meant strategy. But everyone agreed it left a vacuum. And vacuums on the internet never stay empty. Into that silence poured fake screenshots, edited videos, wild theories, and conspiracies so elaborate they made true crime documentaries look tame. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a cultural earthquake. Every lyric was reread as a possible confession. Every old photo was treated as a clue. Every anonymous source was elevated into a witness. The body in the Tesla, the ticket on the windshield, the house raided, the swatting in Texas, it was all building into something bigger, something more terrifying than a single tragedy. And the scariest part, nobody could tell where the lies ended and the truth began. The scandal had already shocked the world. But what came next pushed it into absolute chaos, just as fans were reeling from the discovery of the body and the raid on his Hollywood Hills mansion. New betrayals and leaks began to pour out like gasoline on a fire. Every day brought another twist, another reason to question who could be trusted and who was twisting the knife deeper. The first big blow came when a mysterious audio leak surfaced online. A 12-second clip, allegedly recorded in a studio, spread like wildfire. The muffled voice, which many swore belonged to d4v, muttered, "Just keep it quiet. Nobody needs to know." That single line was enough to send the internet spiraling. TikTok detectives broke it down frame by frame, treating the sound waves like they were crime scene fingerprints. Fans argued in the comments. Some said it was real, others screamed it was AI. But in scandals like this, truth doesn't matter. Drama does, and drama was thriving. Screenshots appeared next grainy, blurry, and impossible to verify, yet deadly in their impact. Alleged DMS between d4v and Celeste painted a picture of late-night plans and secret meetings. Even references to fake IDs. "Pick me up after midnight." One line read, "Real or fake?" Nobody cared. The screenshots went viral, and within hours the narrative shifted again. He exposed himself, critics claimed. Defenders argued the typos didn't match his style, insisting it was a setup. But the internet doesn't wait for courts or facts. It thrives on perception, and perception was destroying him. Then came the cracks in his inner circle. Friends who had once posted about loyalty and brotherhood suddenly went quiet. One close associate unfollowed him on Instagram, and the internet exploded with theories. If his own people don't trust him, why should we? Became the rallying cry. Even worse, whispers from former collaborators painted him as someone surrounded by darkness. A supposed bodyguard told a podcast he kept people around who weren't clean. Everyone knew something wasn't right. An ex-engineer said his songs felt like confessions. We laughed about it then. We're not laughing now. Whether those voices were real or fabricated didn't matter. They fed the beast. Or fabricated didn't matter. They fed the beast. The betrayal wasn't just professional, it was personal. His own family, caught in the storm, began to fracture under the pressure. After the swatting incident in Texas when armed officers raided his family's home on a false shooter, the cracks widened. Relatives were shaken, traumatized, and furious. One cousin posted online, "We didn't ask for this. Stop blaming us." Another reportedly whispered to a journalist, "We don't even know who he is anymore." That one line spread across social media like fire, turning the story into a saga, not just of crime, but of family collapse. Fans screenshotted it, reposted it, debated it. Even his blood wasn't united, and that detail alone made the scandal hit even harder. Meanwhile, the industry turned its back completely. Hollister deleted every campaign. Crocs severed ties. Streaming platforms stopped spotlighting his music. Behind the scenes, contracts worth millions were shredded overnight. A leaked email showed how cold it was. Effective immediately. Remove all references to the artist from promotional material. The industry that had once crowned him the future erased him in hours. And fans noticed. So quick to drop him, but they made millions off his pain. One defender wrote, but critics shot back. What do you expect? Nobody wants to back a walking scandal. And then came the fan war, louder, angrier, and more divided than ever. Supporters flooded social media with hashtags like free d4vd, comparing him to other artists the system allegedly tried to bury. They stitched clips of him singing love songs to prove his innocence, crying that the world was destroying another young black talent. But the other side was ruthless. Y'all worshipped a criminal. They mocked, spamming memes of fake mugshots and parody Spotify covers like Tesla tapes. One viral TikTok racked up millions of likes with the caption, "He wasn't making art, he was confessing." The fanbase wasn't just divided, it was at war with itself, each side screaming louder, each side more desperate to prove they were right. And through it all, d4vd stayed silent. No Instagram lives, no emotional confessions, just clinical lawyer-written statements about cooperating with authorities. His silence was deafening, and people used it however they wanted. Critics said it was proof of guilt. Defenders said it was the smart move to avoid being twisted by the media. But silence creates a vacuum, and the internet never leaves a vacuum empty. Into that void poured fake DMs, AI-edited videos, conspiracy threads, and wild theories that blurred every line between fact and fiction. It wasn't just a scandal anymore. It had become a spectacle, a cultural circus. Every lyric was evidence, every unfollow a betrayal, every headline another twist. The audio leaks, the screenshots, the family drama, the swatting chaos, it all blended into one endless storm. Fans didn't even know what was real anymore, but they didn't care. They wanted the next twist, the next leak, the next betrayal, and the most haunting part was this. In the middle of all the noise, the body in the Tesla, the girl named Celeste, was becoming a symbol rather than a person. Her tragedy had been consumed by the narrative machine. Her story twisted into a weapon against or in defense of the artist at the center. What started as a devastating discovery was now a cultural battleground, and no one could predict how it would end. That as the scandal spiraled further, the focus shifted from betrayal and leaks to the cold, brutal consequences. What had started as whispers on blogs and screenshots on TikTok was now marching into the territory of lawyers, prosecutors, and investigators. Because once a body is found in the trunk of a car registered in your name, the speculation can only carry you so far before the law decides to step in. Legal experts began weighing in on cable news, and their words sounded like nails being hammered into a coffin. One analyst declared, even if he never touched that car, the optics alone make him a suspect. The law doesn't look kindly on coincidence. Another added, if there's evidence of conspiracy, even circumstantial, prosecutors will run with it. Words like obstruction, accessory, conspiracy, terms that send shivers down the spine, were suddenly attached to his name, and each time they were repeated on air, the scandal deepened. But the law wasn't the only battlefield. The money was vanishing just as quickly as the trust. Tours were canceled. Ticket refunds drained revenue. Merch quietly disappeared from online shops. Sponsors not only cut ties, but demanded repayment for money they had already invested. One leaked report claimed he's bleeding millions weekly. His empire, once expanding by the day, was collapsing in real time. For someone who had been celebrated as the future of Gen Z sound, it was the ultimate irony, his future evaporating in front of millions. And the betrayal from the industry kept stinging. Artists who had once posed for photos with him now unfollowed him in droves. Collaborators deleted songs. A rumor spread that Kali Uchis had demanded their joint track be pulled from platforms. Whether true or not, it stuck, because in the middle of a storm, every rumor feels like a fact. Public statements never come. Silence was the new betrayal, and silence was everywhere. Meanwhile, his fanbase's civil war only got uglier. Defenders screamed that he was being crucified without proof. Y'all don't want the truth. You want a villain. One fan tweeted, racking up hundreds of thousands of likes. Critics fired back, mocking them for idolizing a man tied to tragedy. TikToks mocked free d4vd chants with captions like, "Free him." From what basic accountability, even celebrities dipped their toes into the fire. A rapper dropped a freestyle with the line, "Bodies," silence gets reckless. Fans instantly connected the dots. And whether or not it was about him, the narrative was sealed. And then came the paranoia. Every lyric, every caption, every video was dissected with the intensity of a court case. A line about heartbreak, now a confession. A lyric about death, proof. Even harmless selfies were twisted into clues. One fan pointed out his hoodie in a photo, claiming it looked identical to footage from the night the Tesla was moved. It didn't matter if the theory was stretched, people wanted to believe. The swatting incident at his family's home in Texas was revisited and twisted into conspiracy fuel. Some said it proved enemies were targeting him, trying to frame him. Others argued it showed how unstable the situation had become, with even his own family suffering collateral damage. Inside sources whispered that his relatives weren't even speaking to him, divided over whether to defend him or distance themselves. One cousin allegedly told a friend, "We can't carry his sins." That line spread across Reddit threads like wildfire, further painting the picture of a family torn apart. But the ugliest blow came from the fans who once loved him the most. Dedicated fan pages, the kind that once posted daily edits and birthday messages, flipped overnight. Posts that once read "King Forever" now said, "I can't believe we defended this." Screenshots of private group chats leaked, showing fans fighting with each other, one side demanding loyalty, the other calling him a monster. The community that had built his fame was now dismantling his legacy brick by brick. The legal hammer loomed heavier each day. Reports surfaced that investigators were combing through his financial records, tracking unexplained transactions, and subpoenaing his management team. Lawyers speculated that prosecutors might pressure his inner circle to flip, turning friends into witnesses against him. That's how these cases work. One legal commentator explained, "You don't need the top guy to say anything. You just need the people around him to crack." And as those words echoed online, fans whispered about who might betray him next. Financially, the collapse was breathtaking. His once luxurious lifestyle was suddenly painted as unsustainable. Rumors of unpaid staff and canceled checks spread. "He's broke already," one gossip site claimed. Another reported that he had vacated his Hollywood Hills home, not just because of the raid, but because he couldn't afford to keep it. Truth or rumor, nobody cared. The narrative was clear. From millionaire to meltdown, faster than anyone imagined. The betrayal even extended to his art. His breakout track, Romantic Homicide, re-entered the charts, fueled by morbid curiosity, but critics turned it into a weapon. "You're literally streaming a murder confession," one viral post declared. Fans who once saw it as a heartbreak anthem now argued about whether it was foreshadowing all along. The song became both a success and a curse, the very thing that had made him famous now dragging him deeper into scandal. And through all of this, d4vd's silence hung heavy. Some begged for him to speak, to tell his side. Others said it was already too late. His silence had condemned him in the court of public opinion. Every passing day without a statement became another headline. Every passing hour became another reason to believe the worst. What had started with a body and a Tesla was now something much larger, a cultural implosion. An artist erased from playlists, abandoned by brands, betrayed by friends, scrutinized by family, and dissected by millions of strangers. This wasn't just a scandal, it was the complete collapse of an image, a career, and perhaps even a person. And that's where we stand. A body and a Tesla. A ticket slapped on the windshield while tragedy sat in the trunk. A Hollywood Hills mansion, raided and sealed. A family ripped apart, swatted in their own home. Brands cutting ties, friends turning their backs, fans at war with each other. And at the center of it all, d4vd silence, surrounded by chaos. His career dangling by a thread. The internet has already picked its sides. To some, he's guilty without question, the mask finally slipping to reveal the darkness underneath. To others, he's a victim of a system hungry for a fall guy, set up and sacrificed for the entertainment of the masses. But whichever side you believe, one truth is undeniable. This scandal has already changed everything. His songs don't sound the same, his image is no longer untouchable, and his name will forever be tied to this saga. The real question now is what comes next. Will the investigation bring charges that seal his fate? Will someone from his circle flip, turning betrayal into conviction? Or will the case collapse under the weight of rumors and contradictions, leaving him technically free but permanently scarred? That's where you come in. What do you think? Is d4vd being framed? Or is this the dark truth behind the sad boy image the industry sold us? Do you think he can recover from this? Or is his career already over before it truly began? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. And don't just watch, be part of the conversation. Hit that like button if you want the raw, unfiltered breakdowns that the mainstream won't give you. Smash subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story isn't done. The next leak, the next twist, the next betrayal, it's coming. And when it does, you'll hear it here first. You'll hear it here first.